Hei og velkommen til en ny utgave av Filmprat fra filmfestivalen i Tromsø. Mitt navn er Karsten Meinich, jeg er redaktør for filmtidsskriftet Montages. Og i dag har vi gjester som besøker festivalen fra utlandet, så denne samtalen skal foregå på engelsk. So I'll switch to English to wish very much welcome to our two guests here, filmmakers Emmanuel Marre and Julie Lecoustre. Welcome to Tromsø.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are here with your first feature film,
Yeah.
which in English has been called Zero Fucks Given.
Yes.
In the original French title is Rien, foutre,
Yes.
Exactly.
something like this.
Yeah.
And to start off, you are working as a filmmaker pair, a duo,
Yeah.
writing and directing
Yeah.
together. Before your first feature film had its premiere in Cannes last year,
Yeah.
you also made a long short film that
Yeah.
premiered in Locarno. So
Yes.
could you talk a little bit about how you met and how you work as a duo leading up to your first
Yeah.
feature?
Do you want to go begin?
Yeah, you could start.
Yeah.
Okay, we never know how to start with because we didn't. I think we don't know exactly when it started. So, no, I mean it's just like cinematographically we met on this mid-length feature called Castle to Castle that we shot in 2017 during the French presidential election.
Right.
Okay, so and
When Emmanuel Macron won
yes,
the
Yeah.
presidency.
yeah,
Right,
yes,
right.
and actually it's a bit the beginning of our method because we just decided to shoot one day before the starting of the shooting, so
Okay.
without anything.
Yeah. And we find the movie making it also. So I think we have a departure point, an image, an idea, and we try to search and to welcome the film as we are making it. And that's what happened with Castle to Castle, and that's also what we try to keep in ourselves to come to the feature.
I know that you've promised me to let me watch this film
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah.
I was looking it up online and I was finding the trailer. It's
Yeah.
very intriguing. It looks interesting. There's some Super 8 footage and
Yeah.
then there's this video image and you get these characters, a young man and an older woman and the election in the background. So
Yeah.
I know it's on Vimeo and you can
Yeah.
rent it, but
Yeah.
not in my region. It's
Yeah, so you can I mean
So I promise to be, I
Yeah.
try to be as prepared as possible. But I was in Cannes last year
Yeah.
and I got the chance to see your first feature, Zero Fucks Given, which is screening here in
Yeah.
Tromsø.
Yeah.
And I must say, the first time I saw the film, I was actually blown away the way we are when we encounter a
yeah.
new filmmaker or filmmakers that really have a voice, that have a style, but also you're interested in themes and people and how our lives in our work and our lives, interior lives, how it all affects the modernity that we are part of. And in different decades, it's different for different people. But for your film here, it's a very modern, I think, portrait of both the whole society your main character lives
Yeah.
in and her work, but also her face, her interior. So
Yeah.
it's a very interesting film. I don't know where to start, but let's tell the audience what it's about. It's a hostess at a low-cost airline.
Yeah.
It's called Wing. It's a
Yeah.
fictional airline
Yeah.
that you created, yeah. And the main character is played by Adele Exarchopoulos. Many people know her from Abdelatif Keshi's Blue is the Warmest
Yeah.
Color.
Exactly.
And she's been in other films as well. So this character, she goes on a journey, literally, through her
Yeah.
work. And she's stationed in Lanzarote.
Yeah.
But then we also learn that she has this family back home in
Yeah.
Belgium where she lives that she is not returning to for Christmas. She takes extra work. And as the film progresses, we realize that there's sort of like two storylines in her life. The family back home and a tragedy that she kind of escaped from or she wasn't ready to touch it yet.
Yeah.
And then there's this work life. So that's basically the plot. And I just wanted to liberate you from telling it.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Thank you.
sure you've done it thousands of times.
Actually, you summarized it a lot better than we
Yeah.
usually do.
Well,
so
This is
w-
my
w-
job as a journalist. But it's also too short to explain a quite complex film. So let's get into it. I mean, you've been on stage yesterday. I saw the film again here with the audience in Tromsø, and there was a Q&A.
Yeah.
And people asked you about your inspiration. And I think I want to invite you to repeat that reply. Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
what was the singular ideas that came to you that this film grew out of? Just take us into that process.
First of all, it's just a really random sort of accident. I was on a plane that was overbooked at Ryanair, and so they put me on the on the front row of the plane. So I was in front of the air hostess and their jump seat, and during the takeoff, I was really just like really in front of one of them, and she was passing through something really important in her life, I think. You know, that kind of moment where you can read through people's face, even though you would not be able to translate it precisely, but you can read how deep the person is living, how deep feelings the person is passing through, and yeah, it was just really. I was really impressed, and just when her service started, when the call bell just rang, she just put her smiling mask on, and all the pain and the grief just seemed to disappear. So there was this idea of maybe like make a film that would develop what was that young woman, what she had leave, what she had lead on the ground, what was just before the door of the plane was closed. But there was also, and this remind us of a painting also. Maybe we can talk about that.
It's a painting from Edward Hopper, and the title in English is New York Cinema, and it is a painting of a theater in New York with this usherette, une ouvreuse de cinéma in French, which is in uniform, who is in uniform at the right side of the painting, and she is like alone in this super like lonely. She's alone, and she's in this kind of solitude also. And I think these two images have in common to illustrate also how we deal with our solitude and intimacy in public space, and also how we have to wear a mask, because there is a paradox because in our society we speak a lot about emotion, and but emotion is also a way to sell products, to sell experiences and everything. But we play on emotion, but the places to really feel it and to express it are really reduced also.
And when you talked about this on the Q&A here in Tromsø yesterday, it was quite interesting to me also, because even though I've been thinking about the movie for half a year, the mentioning of that painting, and I had to look it up, and I was looking at the painting, and I could, after knowing that it was a reference for you, it's quite interesting. I could very much also see the whole theme of the movie, and it's easy to see how that could inspire you, but it's not so easy to see how you can create an actual film out of something, you know, very concrete, like one painting. It's on MoMA's homepage for anyone out there who want to look it up. But it also reminded me that in our modern life, especially in Western Europe or Western countries, people are removed from so many jobs that are automated now. So there's so many places where we don't meet another human being anymore. You know, you step into the world and you're going to have an experience, and there's no one there to greet you. And especially after COVID, everything is like beep, duck, and you go in and you're alone, and you're like... so in a way, it feels like her film is also portraying that, and also because she, at some points in the film, she decides to be a human being. But she's also a machine in some other scenes. So we see that she's fulfilling this job, and there's this incredible scene that billions of people around the world must recognize the moment where you are taking a flight, maybe the first one in your life or the 100th, and someone tells you your bag is too big.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, definitely.
it's like the death knell of feeling good on the journey. Your whole, like people traveling on 1 year around the world,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the joy of the travel is dead on that point.
Yeah.
So she tells, no, your bag is too big. And at that moment, you choose not to cut to her face, like empathetically, to show her humanness. You stay on the passenger. So it becomes a machine. And then in another scene, when she decides to be a good human being
Yeah.
to this lady that
Yeah.
travels, and people who have seen the film know the scene I'm talking about. You realize how big that gap is.
Yeah.
So could you talk a little bit about this theme of wearing masks, how the uniform becomes also like an armor, in a
yeah.
way, and how you took that and created that into some kind of story and character portrait? Because you, in the end, you are dependent to have some sort of story to tell in the film, and your inspiration is very much about sort of like an image and how that image becomes a theme right away. I don't know who of you to.
You want to start?
I will start maybe also with this. One of our starting point was that Cassandra, the main character, was quite okay with the ultra individual and ultra liberal philosophy of her company.
Yeah, like
And
new public management
Yeah,
style.
exactly, because also she is a way for herself to disappear also behind this robotical efficiency and behind all these procedures, all this no choice to do in her day-to-day life. And it's also a kind of it's a way to forget ourselves also in this procedure and to not feel anything and to put the emotion of the other far away from us. It's the rules, it's like that. I don't want to understand nothing or to know your life. It's like that. And that's all. And so that's what important also for us because it was a kind of hiding also for her. And what I think what moves us a lot, it's also all the same grain of humanity we can have, like the big protest, the big strike. It's not the huge one, especially. It can also be the tiny one and the small one, the little grain of humanity we can have, like saying, okay, I will break the rule because they are idiots, and I will just care for you now and try to do something with you.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because you mentioned that luggage thing. Actually, I think it maybe really represent the way we work, because actually we just didn't have the time to make the other,
Yeah.
you know. And actually, it's funny because.
You're talking about how you shot the scene.
Yeah, I mean, we shot the first one and it wasn't good, and then all of a sudden we only had 10 minutes with the airports to shoot. But in a way, it was very interesting because we shot in a real door, and there was a flight starting to be
boarded.
and so you have people in the scene back on the back. They think they are bordering, so it's a bit a mess, but we didn't have time. So in fact, we choose one angle, and I don't know why we just we choose the passenger side, and afterward we just realized that okay, that's something interesting, and maybe the voice of the company is always voice over. You don't see you hear the voice, but you don't see the faces. Even with the base manager, there is this, and I think to us it was interesting because it's a way that the way we feel it. I mean, the way we feel power now. It's it's just like power without bodies, without person. It's just like rules. It's apps. It's something that, and so that's why actually we say okay. In a way, that's a good accident because it showed us something that is really that we could feel. I mean, and it's crazy in those companies because they don't see anyone. They just see their base supervisor, but they don't have any contact with anyone else.
And your film kind of ties also into, you know, Ken Loach made "Sorry We Missed You" a few years ago. It was like this delivery driver, and that is the same. Well, the film is quite different, but the way he includes how this new way of working and the company and the clock is ticking, and you know, there's also elements in that movie where humanity just bursts through, and people can't stop being people. You can't stop being nice to someone, but it has consequences because then you spend 2 hours you're not supposed to spend, and the whole system and the algorithms, they catch you. So it's kind of depressing, but at the same time in your film, I do feel that the strength and the warmth of your main character, she takes over the film at the right point. And by that I mean that we are all, I mean, during the first half hour of the film, it's so interesting to see how you are capturing these worlds that we all know, like these dead spaces we walk through, the airlines, we are paying the cheapest ticket. And we are contributing to that system, because why would I pay 200 euros when I can pay 50 euros? I'd rather pay the cheap one. And then you know, so after watching the film, of course, my conscience is struck now by this character, now that I know Cassandra. In a way, I feel like I know all these airline stewardess, and I think like, ooh, what can we do to... But it's really, really important for this film not only to be that first half hour, but to be that journey that you take us on. And yesterday on the Q&A, you said something about, in a way, she's moving backwards in her life, because at some point in the film, she returns home to her little town in Belgium. And that, but by that time in the movie, we know her, but only through all those places. So it's a really nice change, and then kind of the film opens up once more. And your actress, Adele Exarchopoulos, anyone who's seen the film I mentioned or many of her other works know that she's a very exciting young actress in European cinema now, because she has this kind of daredevil emotionality. You know, sometimes it seems like me, I'm almost afraid, like, what have you said yes to? Because she's been in a few not so good movies since Blue is the Warmest Color, but by taking chances, she can reach a project like yours, where she fits so perfectly. And could you tell us a little bit about how her way of being a good actress fits so well to this character, and what you were searching for? If that's possible to answer.
Maybe I'll start and you complete in I think the first thing is she has a way to see a role, a part, where there is no need for coherence, no need to build something. I mean, it's just it's not only just she likes improv. It's just like when we discuss with her, when we had discussion about the role, actually she said, okay, I have no problem with the fact that I don't understand the character, the fact that for example, I don't need to know what wants the character, who is she and stuff like that, because she said, I don't know who I am myself, I don't know where I'm going. So that was just like for a basic philosophy that that we can share something. But afterwards she said, okay, but I need some clues, I need some guidelines.
But she had some sort of instinct that she could use, that was sort of primal in her life. And so that's a good fit.
And also I think she got one special talent, is to play in really huge switch in her face, as she also can switch from comedy to tragedy in her career, but also I think she had this talent to just switch faces like that, and also to with her body and her face to just play also the so much layer of dramaturgy, and to incarner, to embody that only with one expression or two expression. And I think that's a huge talent also.
And there is a last thing is, because I'm sometimes I think we have this feeling when we have the so-called social films, like working condition films.
Yeah.
And I often have this feeling that the actors has an intellectual approach of their character. I mean, as if they feel themselves as a way to symbolize stuff, theoretical stuff. And actually, Adele really had she never wanted to enter that that way of thinking. She was really focusing on, okay, how much they gain, how long do we have to clean the place between two sluts,
Yeah.
and also, oh, you have a chariot, how do I block it? You know, show me it. So
Yeah.
she was really in physical action, and you can see it because she can turn the locker super easily and stuff. She really, and I think she was right, because I mean, when you're in your work, you don't think about your condition. I mean, it's just like, but it's not only like the workers; it's everyone. I mean, we are not now just thinking about how the media and is constructing people's reality. For example, we are just like talking
Yeah.
and discussing,
Yeah.
and that's why she's so real to me, because she's in it. She's not like having something looking down on the role and the
it's true.
issue, and she's really in it.
And it's many ways to praise great actors and actresses, but something we never seem to find an answer to, journalists or critics or whatever, is when you talk about great theater actors from Britain, for example, who know everything about Shakespeare, and now he plays this lorry driver, whatever. He's a great actor. Yeah. Well, it's a reason that some filmmakers that go to the people who actually know that stuff and find someone who are able to portray. And you talked a little bit about that yesterday, that all the other minor characters are actually people working as airplane stewards or whatever. And that Adele is, in a way, the only unprofessional one. And that's a very interesting observation. But it is also true about her best scenes in her cinema up until this point.
Yeah.
To me, or in my editorial group, we often mention the fact of the way she eats spaghetti in Blue is the Worst. You know? Like you can mention so many moments where she would deserve any kind of award for that character and that portrayal. But the memory is the honesty of how she eats spaghetti bolognese. It's just so moving.
Yeah.
And she even eats like a little pancake or something here.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just something very about her talent. And you might not find it in 1 in a million. But at the same time, the humanity that she doesn't have to intellectualize, but she just does it.
Yeah.
Whatever she does to do that, it fits your film really well. So I'm happy that you found a way to use it, because
and it's funny because the crepe
Yeah.
is
it's a
just
crepe,
because she was hungry, and I say we don't shoot if I don't eat something. But she really wanted a crepe.
But it's a great moment, and it's a way, and if we step back a little and return to the movie, like to enjoy a film like what you've made, I think the honesty of people as they are is central to how you can get to all those deeper things, because it's a misconception if people listen our talk and think that the quality of this film is how you do this, how you do that, and I know that's not what you mean, but the reality of this film experience is that you have to step into this movie and watch it, and in an unbroken experience you get to those things that make it really rich. And my point would be that her style of acting is all those layers in every little single thing, but you have to include all those things. So without the eating, without the phone company ringing and she remembering her mother, like without I know it's important for you, but it's easy to think that, that's a little scene, you can make it a little shorter, but that's the whole build-up. So that's not a question. But anyway, I think it's a quality.
The question
of
of
your
the duration of shots, and because we realized, by editing, I don't know if you remember, but there were many scenes that we shortened, and actually you didn't have the same feeling.
Yeah.
And even like the producer, sometimes they were like, what did you do? It's less good, and we lost something, which is weird because producer and
Shorter,
Want
shorter,
it
shorter.
shorter, yeah.
yes, go shorter. So
Yeah.
that's, and I think also it's just like maybe it's something we believe in. I mean, it's different when you edit and you show something, and there is a point A or B, and you go to C, and every step has to be more and more interesting. Which is, I mean, it's many films are based on that, and it's a huge quality and super difficult, and it's, I think, the essence of cinema. But sometimes it's also what we try to do is like you are going through what's happening. It started before, you know that it will continue after, and you have the time to be in the situation and maybe think about echoes and stuff like that, and to watch also to the little maybe the character who's beside, and you have a little time to watch it, and because we really focus on the fact that all what we live is as always a background, and this background affects us a lot. I mean, it's completely different to, for example, when you are, I don't know, you break up with your lover, stuff like that, and in fact, I don't know, you are in a bakery and there is a huge noise. For example, I have one example it's in Nanni Moretti's the son's room.
Yeah.
It's amazing because when the son is in the coffin, and you have this thing which is a huge moment, and there is this guy who has the machine to plug it, and it makes a lot of noise. And it's funny because actually this film is also rooted to researches I had made about car accident.
Yeah.
And I met people, and they told me that they had lost their teenager, and the mother and the father said, like, at this present moment, they remember the scene of when it happened to their son, and they said, oh, they had seen the movie with him, with the teenager who died, and say, oh, at least it didn't make noise. And I think it's wonderful, those details of cinema that can inhabit your life. I mean, it's just like, it's so powerful that you keep it, and it's not intellectual or stuff like that. It's just connected people with some reality. And I think we really think that the emotional quality also comes to something like has to deal with non-intellectual but really sensitive stuff you had. And you remember, it's always like that. You remember it's the song you had that moment. I don't know, the light, but also sometimes the colors or stuff like that. So the question of the sensitive memory is super important.
Yeah, and we try each time to when we are thinking about the scene or something, to when we have the core of the scene, just to imagine what could be all the layers around, and what could be around.
Yeah. I expected our conversation to be over too quickly, because I was really inspired by your film, and I was looking forward to talk to you guys about it. I can see from the clock that we are approaching the half-hour mark, which is our limited time here, and it's a live transmission, so I hope a lot of the audience members here in Tromsø and around Norway had the chance to listen to our conversation. The film is also part of the digital festival program, so for audience members who couldn't come here because of Omicron, hopefully they have a chance to see the film and listen to your talk when this recording is published. But my only message from us here in Norway is that we are so happy to have discovered you as filmmakers. We're going to follow everything you make, and we hope to have you back here in Tromsø, or at least in Norway, for future projects as well. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I have some more questions, but we'll save it for later.
It was a pleasure to
and we
meet
were
Tromsø.
super happy to have this Norwegian premiere also.
Very good to hear. Emmanuel and Julie, thank you
you.
again,
Thank
and
you.
have a nice day for the rest of your duration here in Norway.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
thank you to everyone who's watching. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.